Hello, my name is Malik Abazab. Welcome to PM Express. There are threats of demonstrations, threat of strikes and imprisonment. And in fact, there are actual strikes. In the middle of all of this controversy is one important state institution, the Electricity Company of Ghana. What is the state seeking to do with this important asset? And why is there such a hullabaloo about the state's proposal as to how to deal with this important institution? When we come back from the break, I will introduce my guest and then we will settle for this discussion. Stay tuned.
We are going to sanction them. You see, the law regarding the purchase and vending of prepayment metering is very clear. It is very categorical. It states that the E.C.G should make sure that their customer service offices for the vending of prepayment metering should be open from 8 a.m. to 5. And the second law says that they should open it for 8 hours. They have breached the law.
So what is it? What does the law provide?
There are penalty units. There's also the issue where the CEO can be imprisoned. These are provisions. So the commission will decide which one to use.
So that could be one of the options. The CEO could be facing prison time.
Yes, it's there. That
so
one you go through the Attorney General because we don't have the powers of arresting powers. So we go through the Attorney General. The Attorney General will issue an order. The police will arrest. We go through the process. Then also there's the issue of penalty units where they will be given some penalty units to pay.
You're welcome back, and we are talking the Electricity Company of Ghana. You just heard the Public Affairs Director of the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, PURC, Nana Yajantua, bringing clarity to the difficult relationship that exists currently between the PURC on one hand and the staff and managers of the Electricity Company of Ghana. A difficult relationship because this is the organization that is supposed to be regulating and sometimes intervening on behalf of the utility provider. For some strange reason, the PURC in the last few months has always been at loggerheads with E.C.G. What are the issues? What are the problems? With me are Patrick, can't quite get your full name.
Tete Binyemi. Patrick Tete Binyemi.
Tete Binyemi. And you are with...
I am the National Secretary for the Senior Staff Union.
Wow. And also with us is Kofi Fletcher, also with
the Sub-Transmission Division.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Let me start with you. How did all of these start?
Okay. Thank you very much. And the issues are simple.
Not quite.
From the beginning of these issues, PU wasn't engaged so much.
And you're talking about PU means Public Utility Workers Union.
Let me start from the incident that happened quite recent. We were in the Ministry of Powers conference room together with PU, MIDA and the Deputy Minister of Power. And the issues
and MIDA, you're talking about Millennium Development Authority.
Exactly. Then what happened was that we scheduled a meeting for Thursday, 8th September, for us to meet. Why we supposed to meet? The minister made it clear to MIDA to make available their roadmap.
First of all, what is the role of MIDA in all of this?
Well, the role of MIDA is the implementing authority here. Now, we met and we said, come out clear with your roadmap.
Okay, I think we have to lay a certain foundation so that our listeners viewers can understand what the issues are. Otherwise, when we are talking about implementing authority and all of this, people don't understand. What I wanted you to speak to, what is the state, what is government seeking to do with ECG? And are you in agreement? So that we can then go into some of the details as to what MEDA wanted to do, the meetings, and how they bypassed some of the laid down agreements and procedures as to what document to present to who and how they failed to do that and why you disagree with that. So let's deal with what is government seeking to do with ECG and why are you against it?
Yes, government intends to bring some degree of efficiency into the system because, well, they have identified one or two reasons why they think there is the need for them to come out and then help or inject some efficiency into the system. So the MCCA came out with some assistant help.
MCCA, Millennium Challenge Account.
Exactly. And then what they are saying that they are bringing some funds as a grant. You know, after the Compact 1, which constructed the N1 to Malam, they now coming out with the Compact 2. Now, the Compact 2 has some degree of conditionalities attached to it. Now, what we are saying is that, okay, fine. If you are giving us a grant, you want to inject some funds into the system or operations of ECG. Now, you are supposed to come out through the, how do you call it, the MEDA as an implementing authority. The amount they are bringing is just about $597 million US, and not all this money is even coming to
because
ECG.
The first one was 547, and I remember Greater Accra Regional Minister Sheikh I.C.K. said the money is big. And when you say compact, the Millennium Development Authority is a development vehicle initiated between the governments of the United States and the government of Ghana, right? And there was a first compact which came under the Kufuor government. That first compact was made up of 547 million. It was out of that 547 million that we constructed the N1. And that is the Temamoto Way extension. So, and then there's a Compact 2. And you were talking about conditionalities. Let me go to Fletcher to take us through those conditionalities. So, we exhausted the Compact 1, and then we qualified for Compact 2. But you are saying that the Compact 2 came with certain conditionalities. What are those conditionalities?
Yeah, indeed. The Compact 2 is coming to actually push some financial injection into the energy sector. So it's not only about ECG, it's about NEDCO, it's about energy commission, it's about PURC, it's going to the generation. So it's going to put in some kind of package for the energy sector in general. But what is more different with regards to ECG is that there's this issue of concession as part of the conditionalities as regards to ECG. Now, why only ECG going into the concession? That is the question.
Okay, and when we talk about conditionalities, we are saying that the American government is saying, we will give you this 597 million, but there are certain inefficiencies with important state institutions that you have to eliminate, especially in the energy sector. And as part of this arrangement, ECG must be given out to a private operator to manage for a number of years. 25 years. And the argument is, ECG as it operates now is not efficient. You don't agree?
It depends on how you want to put it. But if you have a company, that normally you have the PURC, which will automatically adjust formula for the tariff.
Because we know the automatic tariff adjustment formula.
Now, you have the first, it was introduced. In 2013, we had the increment. There was no increment again until last December that there was an increment. Now, you have a company that government consumes a lot. And you know government is now trying to pay a debt of about $700 million to ECG as part of its debt. Now, when you look at these whole issues about government interference, government chooses them, they choose the board. Okay? And there are no indicators. You have a company that we have to pay our fuel in dollars, yet we charge in cedis. You understand the depreciation of the cedi and even the inflation aspect. Yet this company is running, and you say the company is inefficient. Now, can we now draw the line? How are you going to define the inefficiency? Fine, let's put the thing fairly. Pay your debts. Stop the interference. Okay? Then we see, then put it on a platform. Then we can see that we are inefficient. Now, E.C.G is supplying electricity to villages, excuse me to use the word villages, to places that we know that they will not even pay for the electricity. Huge investments, huge posts, long lines. But no, electricity is a public good. It is not for profit making. It's not a financial good. So in everything that you do, look at the economic aspect of it. So government doesn't mind sending electricity to rural areas where they cannot even pay because it's an economic good. Okay, so if we are investing in those places and we are not getting the returns, but the returns being paid because we are developing the economic capacity of the people over there. So now if the government comes out, especially for even the government who appoints the board, appoints the MD without any indicators, comes and say we are inefficient, I think that we should look at the word inefficiency as regards to the operation of E.C.G. I don't think let us solve this problem, put it on this same
You think
platform.
that the definition has been, inefficiency here has been given a curious definition?
Yes. No, let's put it this way. Somebody from some schools, excuse me, say a village, gets 6 months in the WASI, the BC, then another person goes to Morning Star, he gets 8 months. Fine, on the face of the paper, the Morning Star person is leading, but there's sprint behind the paper. You say that no, the person can put in place perform. So when you look at all these indicators, and rather that E.C.G is still surviving today with a penetration of 80% of the population, the biggest in the sub-Saharan Africa. And in fact, in Africa, we are competing with South Africa in terms of reliability and everything.
But there are arguments about losses and outrageous high rate of losses.
Yes, I will agree.
So that is not, you can't put that to non-payment of debts by government and extension of electricity to rural folk who do not have the economic capacity to pay.
Technically, the way we build our network, our villages far apart, we are going to have technical losses. The way we build our network. And the technical losses will come. Now, look, this election period, you see the extension of electricity that we will do as E.C.G because it's a public good, because it's owned by the government, as a sign of government's contribution to the people, not thinking of how much the government will get from the people, but how government contributes to the economic development.
And how the politician can use it for their campaigns.
Exactly. So the technical losses, the more we expand, we're going to have technical losses. The commercial losses, I will agree. But then it is not something that the company is not doing about it. The company is doing a lot. Changing of even our credit meters to prepayment, now our meters on put. They are all strategies that we are putting in place as a company to reduce the commercial losses. And the whole lot, but we are arresting people. Now E.C.G has its own prosecuting office to arrest people who do these illegalities. And we are doing a lot.
Let me go to Mr. Binyami on this one. So the government believes that there are inefficiencies, and the Compact 2 came with the condition that in order to introduce discipline in the energy sector, these inefficiencies must be removed. And the recommendation is you must get a private sector player involved in E.C.G. So how is the process going?
Thank you very much. You know, we don't need anybody from elsewhere to come and tell us that the person is coming to bring some degree of inefficiency into the system. We have able and capable people, personnel.
Do you?
Yeah, we have.
Have we proven it?
Oh, why not? They are there. I have one key guy here with me. You understand?
They
we
may
have
be
the
capable.
men.
They may be capable, Mr. Binyami, but we all know that when we are managing as a people, when we are managing public institutions, the same Ghanaians who run down the public institutions are the same Ghanaians who excel running private institutions.
It is true.
And examples are made of STC and OA bus travel and tour. The same Ghanaians run down STC the same Ghanaians are running away.
But that is why Engineer Fletcher mentioned earlier that government interference in ECG operations is one of the key issues that is crippling ECG. For instance, it is the government that appoints the board of directors. The government appoints the management team members. So then what are they supposed to do? The master says do A, you have to do. If you fear losing your position, then you must do what you are asked to do.
What is the nature of this interference, apart from just the non-payment? What's the nature of the interference? Then, apart from non-payment of bills, sometimes which pile up, what other forms does this interference take?
Non-payment is there. Now you are talking about government. You see, people should be appointed on merit. The right people should be appointed to occupy the rightful positions. You understand me? In a situation where you are directed to buy from here, don't buy from here, these are all issues that are critical in operations of ECG. For instance, if ECG, we are saying ECG is inefficient, you owe ECG, you don't pay your bills or you don't pay your debt to ECG, ECG is not able to get the required capital to inject into the system, and then you turn back and you say you are inefficient. Are we fair? We've heard in quite recent that meters are going to be distributed. These meters are given free of charge to the hinterlands. Sometimes you may not even know. Is this not going to increase our system losses? These are key issues. You understand? Even before somebody goes out on air to say that, look, I'm going to give you ABCD, the authorities in E.C.G should have been consulted. We are moving to this particular village to give them meters. What are we supposed to do to get them the meter?
You're making reference to the president's promise to some 2 villages in Cape Coast that 1,500 meters. 1,500 meters will be distributed so that it will reduce the load on single meters by many homes.
You see, I don't want to go to that
I know it's political. I know it's political.
So much.
I know it's political, but you're not talking about the politics of it. You're talking about the principle of it.
You see, there are so many issues that
so
when we
what
say
do you
government,
think should have been done before that decision is taken to go and give these meters out?
ECG is there. ECG is supposed to have done that. For instance, if the ministry intends to give out meters because of the season in which we find ourselves, it's prudent for ECG to be involved in this decision making. So that, you see, there are a lot of these
but
people...
ECG certainly will be involved. I'm not too sure that the government is just going to carry vast loads of meters and just go and share them to homes. I'm not sure that's going to happen. Yes, Fletcher wants to make an intervention.
Fine, it's a social intervention, the SHEP meters. Those are called the SHEP meters. What the president is talking about definitely is going to be a SHEP meters. It's a policy being ruled by the Energy Commission or the ministry. Agreed. But the issue is that these meters doesn't come to the ECG office. It goes to somewhere. We don't want to mention the names, but it goes somewhere into the private person. Now, these people are able to give the meters out. The people mount the meter in their homes without any consulting ECG. Now, ECG finds out later that some meters are somewhere, then ECG goes now to capture. So it will take you some time for that meter to even be captured. So you have even some people complain, I've not had the meter for about a year, because it takes time to map the place. It takes time to capture the meters before you can even vote the person. So the process we are proposing, everything should go.
But you are an engineer. Does that not speak to the failings of ECG? If someone were to tap into your system, why don't you have a robust system that can detect that Malik Dabu at Nyami Bechere has just plugged into your system and he's consuming power which he's not paying for?
No. But this is the ECG assets are physical assets. They are not like the telecommunication where the chip is my phone. I don't even see the connection. It's a physical. That's why I have the challenge of even the illegal connection, because the wire is in your home, the meter is in your home. And the technology to see that you are somebody tapping from, I don't think it even exists. But we cannot do that.
Okay, but Mr. Nyemi, so Binyemi, when you lay out all of these, and the person, the government, which is responsible largely for all of these interferences, now says, I'm going to bring a private person to take over, and this private person won't allow all of these interferences, you should be saying hooray.
That is what we have just began saying, that look, the private person who is coming is not coming to bring anything new. Why am I saying this? Now, we have all these inefficiencies that we have enumerated. The government should then give us the opportunity to put things straight or right. If the government is not giving us that opportunity, but is ready to give that opportunity to somebody to come and do that, then that is where our woes lies that we are talking about.
So your argument is what? That if the government will now pay its bills, remove itself from the interferences and the appointment of people and the manipulation of the processes and the distribution of meters to areas without consultation, if the government can do all of that for a private person, your argument is, why doesn't the government do that for you, the current managers?
Exactly. That is why we are saying
Why haven't you complained until now?
Oh, we have said it time and again. One may ask, why are we now raising these issues? Just because information wasn't made available. Cabinet came out with a decision on this whole compact just last February. And it was from there that we started trying to dialogue with MIDA and then know the way forward. Because if the government is ready to do all it takes to make available every resource for the concessionaire to take over, then we are also saying that what is good for the goods, it's equally good for the gander. So we are saying that government, give us the opportunity. If you want to see some degree of efficiency in the system, then why don't you list ECG on the stock exchange? That is one key thing that we have proposed.
Like ADB has done.
Like ADB has done. You have TOR there. You have Ghana Commercial Bank. The whites didn't come from America to do that. Weren't they same black people, Ghanaians, who have turned the fortunes of those companies or institutions? We are also saying that we have able and capable Ghanaians to do that.
Companies listed by MIDA. There's no American company amongst them, is there?
You see, my brother, one thing where we have to know and understand is that, look, if a white man is giving you a wrapped gold bar and you think it's a gold bar, please unwrap it. For all you know, it might be a stone and not a gold bar.
That's not quite fair. That's not quite fair, because they bring you the money and they say, look, we will give you the money. These are conditionalities. You take it or you leave it. You are taking it. So if you take the money and now you have to act in accordance with the conditionalities that were attached to the money, you can't blame anybody for that.
Yes, and that is where the problem lies. If you are giving me a grant, the Compact 1, the grant that was given, was there any conditionality?
Well,
no.
If for the time being, it's your negotiations. If you negotiated for the first compact and there were no conditionalities, there's nothing that stops the person giving you the money from saying, okay, the first one I gave it to you for free. This one, I want you to do A, B, C, and D, so that next time you don't have to come to me.
Yes, that is why we are saying that, look, fine. The conditionalities that they are giving us, it is not the best for us, and we see it as a bad deal.
But because Fletcher, if we manage all these systems well, if you guys were able to go to the government and say, look, give us the money, because there are state institutions like the Daily Graphic, which are run efficiently, go to them and say, look, you don't have an authority to come and put a meter here, go and remove them and stand your grounds. The general public will back you and you won't have to need anybody's support for anything.
If we're talking of we collecting our debt, fine. No, when you say government owing, we are looking at individual institutions.
Yeah, so have you gone to disconnect the finance ministry, for example, and they brought the policemen to stop you?
Oh, indeed. Indeed. About a month ago, the union, it wasn't the company, the union embarked on disconnection exercise.
I remember that some polytechnics and others...
Polytechnics were disconnected. Universities were disconnected. Some hospitals, in fact, the residential...
And the government paid you 50 million, didn't they?
How much? Now, government 700 million. Government owing 700 million as per what for last week we know. And they're paying 50 million. How much compared to this? And the 700 million is legacy debt. I mean, you have piled up so many years, and you're paying 50 million. Now, let's put the amount of money we're owing.
Totally, they were paying about 200. Well, 50 for those universities, but they were paying about 200. That's what Deputy Power Minister John Jinapo told us.
Yeah, you were owing 3 years ago, let's say 100 million, even Ghana cedis. 100 million Ghana cedis 3 years ago, up to now. Look at the depreciation. Look at the inflation aspect of it. So all this also have to be looked at. Now, sometimes you go for this disconnection and you had the ministries coming around the table for renegotiation. In fact, in debt management, you can go in for payment plan. So a lot of them came for payment plan. The protectors came for payment plan. The investors came, and you see, that time it was a union that took. So the interference of the government was very little. It wasn't the company, the company which was fronting. It was a union.
Why did you wait until E.C.G was put on concessionary terms before you then started acting? Which is the problem. Because you waited for 3 years. Institutions were owing. You didn't go to take the money. When the very day the government says, okay, you are inefficient, we are giving you to some Americans or some Italians or some Indians to manage, now you are running to go and collect your money. Why didn't you do that a year ago or 2 years ago?
In fact, not that we were sitting down, we're doing it. But government always come out and say that, I will pay. You take government for its word, because on the budget of government, you're supposed to pay this debt from these institutions.
But if they promise you...
Yes, so you promise me today, you're unable to fulfill it. You promise me tomorrow, you're unable to fulfill it. The next time, what do? I take action.
Yeah,
and that is the action that we did.
But you failed to take the action when you were supposed to take it. Because if you waited for 3 years, Mr. Binyami, you waited for 3 years before now going to go and take your money. And you are doing that because the government now says they want to give out the company.
Not because the government wants to take the money.
No. We didn't wait for 3 years. You see, this whole issue, when we have been brought into the limelight of this, was from February when Cabinet came out with some decisions as far as this concession is concerned. And that is when we started looking at the issues critically.
That's exactly the point I'm making. Until then, Mr. Binyami, all of you take your eyes off the ball. The company was going down. The government was not paying money that it owed. Institutions were not paying. Private citizens were engaged in illegal connections and all of that. But everybody minded their business. The day we knew that, look, if this thing is given to a foreign company, our personal pockets will suffer, that's when we start acting.
No, that is not the issue. We have a disconnection unit that goes on disconnection on daily basis. From time to time, the union organizes revenue mobilization exercise. But you are dealing with a government machinery. But you see, sometimes I get worried when somebody in his own, a domestic user of electricity, owns 20 Ghana cedis, 30 Ghana cedis, and we go and disconnect that person. And somebody owns millions of cedis, and it's a no-go area. You understand me? These are the issues that are critical. Like my brother said, we engaged on this revenue mobilization exercise quite recent. Some of the ministries were knocked off, and at the speed of light, they were reconnected.
Did they pay?
We were part of it.
Did they pay?
You see, it's an area
Did they pay before they were reconnected?
It's an area.
Or you were prevailed upon to do that?
They come with negotiation. We'll do A, B, C, D.
And then you gave up?
Because, no, you see, all of us were part of that exercise.
Okay, you go that thought for me. We have to go for a break. When we come back, I'll be asking further questions about where we are currently. How can we get out of this? Because there were people on Friday and Saturday who couldn't buy power because officials of E.C.G decided to embark on a strike. One declared by the PURC as illegal, and which now threatens to throw the boss of E.C.G into jail. You're watching PM Express. We will be back. You're welcome back. You're watching PM Express. Please join us by sending us a message on our WhatsApp line 0560-800,000. 0560-800,000. Send us a message and we will share it with our viewers. My guests are Mr. Binyemi and Mr. Fletcher. And before we went on the break, I was pointing out to you, if you had been proactive, we probably would never have been here.
We have done our best, and we will continue to do our best. We are doing it. They know. Moving, you see, bringing all the workforce together, asking them to go and do a revenue or engage in a revenue mobilization exercise. You walk to a particular ministry, agency, or department, you knock them off because they owe, and within a twinkle of an eye, they are reconnected. This is an issue. Who goes to war with government and wins?
Why can't you win? Because if you are working in the interest of the state and all of you insist that, look, you owe, you have to pay. Because the ordinary citizens can't have a government which doesn't pay its bills when they pay. So if you take the action, the citizens will back you.
Yeah. Malik, you agree with me that I wouldn't go and disconnect the theater of Kolebu. I wouldn't go to 37, the military base, to disconnect. I wouldn't go to maybe be in the sensitive area and the university to disconnect. You know, these are areas when you want to be very firm in your decision to disconnect just because they owe. You may be creating other problems. So when you're looking at these issues, we have to come around the table and say, no, let's show good faith. You, the government, you know that we have bought this power from the producers. They need money to buy their fuel. You need to pay. Because you have said that this bill will be in your books. And
you buy power from the Volta River Authority, you buy power from Senate, Assembly, Power, and all of these. Yes.
And they need, and the bill that you pay is the end user tariff. In that end user tariff is the distribution charge, transmission charge, and a generation charge. So if ECG takes 100 Ghana cedis, ECG may take maybe 30 cedis. The rest goes to the generation station, goes to Gridco, who transmits the power. So if the money is not coming to ECG, you can imagine the repercussion. You know, the rippling effects to the transmission and the generation company. So the billing or the tariff or the payment of bills to ECG is very crucial. If you don't pay ECG their monies, the generation is affected. The transmission is affected.
And let me ask that question again. Now the government wants to solve your problem for you by bringing in a private operator who will collect their money. You are staff, so just do your work and you will be fine.
At the same time, government will pay. I'm not saying that. Is it a matter of discipline? Is it a matter of now the private persons come to tie your hands? What is the issue? If you will pay, if the private person comes and you will pay, roll out the policies, roll out the roadmap, how you are going to pay. Pay us now. That is all that you are saying. The interference. Now, when the private person comes, of course, you're not going to interfere. Try as much as you can to stop the interference. Now, we are looking at companies. We have always made our proposal that, for example, they go to the Ghana Stock Exchange. One, GOIL.
Yes.
Making good gains.
The
SIC is there.
Company.
Making good gains. GCB is there. They are all run by
even the ABB, which just listed this year, I hear their shares are doing so well.
They are all run by Ghanaians. So the company can be run by the Ghanaians, by the technocrats. We know them, we know their company.
But the rules say that any foreign company that is coming must have Ghanaian representation on it. No,
not all. There's 6 shortlisted companies. No, only 2 have
There's
Ghana addresses.
There's Manila Electric Company
The address
from
is not in
Philippines.
Ghana.
There is NG Energy Services from South Africa.
Yes.
There's Enel SPA
But
Italy.
they have a Ghanaian address.
Tata Power India. And all
Indian
of
company.
that.
So only 2 companies have Ghana address. So it is not even part of the condition. So it is going to be a foreign company. And even those with the Ghana address, for example, you have a BXA company Ghana, then you have a Chinese name which I cannot even mention. Plenty Chinese names over here. Then you have the other one, the Ghana address. Then you have an LMI holding, which is a Ghana company, but in consortium with other foreign companies. So we realize that the companies are all foreign. I mean, so what our point is that, look, this company can be run by Ghanaians. God is doing it. GCB is doing it. Just stop the interference by rolling onto the Ghana Stock Exchange, sell the shares to Ghanaians. We will own it. We will run it.
Is the government listening to your argument?
You see, we have raised all these issues. You know, apart from listing E.C.G on the stock exchange, you know, we've just started this Ashanti SBU, the Strategic Business Unit, which it is the same government of Ghana who approved it. And it's being piloted for a period of 2 years. It was only launched in December. So we are saying that government, why don't you allow this project, which is currently ongoing in Ashanti region, for 2 years? At the end of the 2 years, we are going to assess the project and then replicate that in other regions to bring some degree of what? Efficiency into the system. The government is not listening to us. Now, if it is about money that the government needs to inject efficiency, there are so many ways by which we can generate these funds internally. We are talking at Senate funds, there are our tiers, all these monies are available. Look, if the American government is giving you, let's say what is coming to ECG, about $300 million, and he's saying that, give me your state assets for 25 years.
The American government hasn't quite said it. The American government just simply said, get a private sector person to manage it.
No, there was a condition of years, between 20 and 30 years.
Exactly.
Yes, but not to the American government. Just give it to a private sector player.
Why should we give it to a private sector player for that period of time? Why? Why that?
Because by that time, they would have restructured it and they would have introduced the efficiency.
You see, my brother, this is basic for us to understand. If the net asset of ECG is about $1 billion, and the white man is bringing you $300 million, and he's telling you that, give me your state asset to run for 25 years.
Can we leave out the white man? Let's just say the Americans, foreigners are bringing you.
Okay, foreigners are bringing us $300 million to inject into the system, and your net asset is about a little over $1 billion, and he's saying that, give it to me for 25 years to run. What can you say this? If you see, the engineer is here and he will tell you that if I have an asset, maybe the distribution asset, they have a lifespan of 25 years. So if I'm giving my, let's take it a transformer to this person to run for 25 years, what will be the state of the transformer at the end of that period? It will be declared obsolete. You understand me? And that is what is going to be handed over to the restructured ECG at that time.
The president said that the company is not being sold, and we all know that. He said history has shown that when we don't manage institutions well and they're given to foreigners, they're managed well. Golden Tulip is one of them. Golden Tulip used to be state-owned. They gave it out. It's being managed properly. Ghana Telecom is given out to Vodafone. It's being managed properly. So ECG is not doing too well. Give it out.
My brother, you can't compare orange with tomato. Please, let's get it right. You can't compare an orange with tomato. One thing we need to understand, you see, that triggered the issues we are raising, and we are saying that, please, we have given you alternatives. If it is money, it is about efficiency.
So they should get list
ECG on the stock exchange. Allow the Ashanti SBU, that is the Strategic Business Unit in Ashanti, which is currently being piloted, allow us to end it and then see it, the good side of it. We'll replicate it in the other regions.
What is this Ashanti Strategic Business Unit? What is it?
You see, this is a project. You know, we want to inject some degree of efficiency into the system. So the government, through the Swedish government, gave us some money, and then we are saying that, okay, fine, let us look at Ashanti. Let's pilot the project. You see, like, they will be like a semi-autonomous. They wouldn't fall on Accra or head office for, okay, we need A, B, C, D. It's supposed the approval has to come from head office and this and that. No, but they are semi-autonomous, and then they are going to look at that project. The success stories, we're going to look at them and replicate this. And you see, surprisingly, it is the same government of Ghana who has given that approval. The project was launched last December, and we are already in the 9th month of it. So why don't we allow it to run for that 2 years so that we can see that, okay, in Ashanti region, we have piloted it, and these are the success stories. Now, let's go to Central Western Volta or even Accra. So why then, if you have given approval and the period is not yet over and you are saying that forget it, let's look at concession. If you want money, if it is because of money, we are saying that we are ready. We have other means of generating these funds within so that we can inject whatever we want into the system.
So where are we now? At this point, where are we? We know that MIDA has shortlisted 6 companies. We just mentioned them. It's supposed to select 1 out of these 6 companies to manage the organization. What are your fears? Apart from the issues about, okay, if we want money, we can raise it, we can list on the stock exchange, we can get SNIT to invest, and government should pay its debts, government should stop the interference. Apart from these ones, where we are now, what's the next step?
The next step in regards to MIDA, or the next step in regards to the staff?
Let's deal with MIDA first, and then we'll
Now the 6 have been shortlisted. The next line of
Were you
action,
involved in these shortlisting?
That is exactly the point I was going to raise. You see, media claims to be transparent, but these are 20 issues that we've been asking. For example, let's go into details. The 5 years unemployment that we are talking about has been one of the key issues that we are raising. I think an answer to, after 5 years, what happens? Now, government says it's not.
They said within 5 years, nobody will be.
After 5 years, what happens? There is no answer yet. I don't know whether there is no answer yet. Now, how is the arrangement going to be? When you leave this in for 5 years, now, this company is proving that needs, due to the rate of demand is 10% per annum. The company needs $200 million per annum to catch up with the demand. Now, where is the money going to come from? This money is about 300 million going to be spent over a period of 5 years. Would that be enough to catch up with the demand that has been estimated by the company? No. Now, this issue of which even formula that they are going to use to even adjust the tariff. Now, that one too is not answered. Now, one of the reasons why you're even going, not rendering even service, was MIDA has not been transparent. There are so many questions. What happens within the 25 years? Is it going to pay?
I heard their communications manager saying every step of the way they have been in meetings with you. They've been absolutely transparent.
Transparent? No. Do we know even how? What is going to happen in the future? Is the company even going to pay some money annually, dividends to government? Do we know that? No. How much the company going to pay? No. After the exhaustion of the $300 million, how much is that private company going to inject in the company? No. After 25 years, our equipment are now obsolete. What is going to happen to the equipment? No answer.
Maybe they will buy new equipment before they hand it over.
Where is the answer? These are the documents that we want to have in state. And MIDA has never been transparent. You know, it is all the MIDA. In the media, we have organizations looking for information, we have personalities looking for information, and the informations are not coming. We want to study the information. And why would they secretly, the RFP, that's supposed to contain all these indicators?
That's the request for proposal.
The request for proposal was issued without the knowledge of the union, of the staff. How? At the meeting.
But your managers are represented. Because your managers have a representation on the MIDA board.
The question you may ask is, how many of them are there? You see, one may ask why last Friday and Monday we have to go or do that action. You see, MIDA stabbed us at the back.
How?
Like he said, MIDA has never been transparent, and they have actually shown a gross disrespect to us.
How?
Why? Because from the onset, we were prepared to engage MIDA, to know their roadmap, what is in the document for us. MIDA wasn't coming clear. Upon complaint here and there, then we have to meet on 30th of August at the ministry. Now, we have all agreed, and even the deputy minister directed that, look, MIDA.
And you're talking about John Jenapo, deputy power minister.
MIDA, please come clear. ECG people want to see or get access to your roadmap. They have also made some submissions from the union side. So arrange a meeting and then discuss these issues. So together with the MIDA management team, we agree that coming Thursday on the 8th, this particular Thursday, we're going to meet so that we can dialogue. Then at a speed of light, just after the meeting, they release the request for proposal. So we are saying that MIDA is not coming clear. Because if we all sat in that meeting and we have agreed that we're going to meet and bring on board all these issues, and within 30-40 minutes, you release the request for proposal, then you've not been fair with us.
Their response is that your manager, who is one of your managers who is a board member of MIDA, was aware of that this request for proposal was going to be issued, and it was that person's responsibility to inform you. The person failed to do that. So
why do they have to invite us that they want to meet us if they claim that that person is supposed to inform us? This is the reason why we said, no, MIDA, you have not been fair. And from the way we look at it, MIDA is wearing a very, very big mask. MIDA is hiding so many things, and they are holding the whole nation.
What have you asked for that they haven't given you, Fletcher?
Oh, my brother.
Like I enumerated a lot. You said you are protecting our job for 5 years. After 5 years, what happens? After 25 years, what happens? Within the...
But nobody actually has that kind of undertaking that your job is protected. So you are even being treated...
These are things that should be contained in the RFP. Even if there should be even severance packages.
At multimedia, nobody is coming to tell me that, Malik, your job is protected for this number of years. So if you are being told that your job is protected for 5 years, you should say who?
No, let me set that record straight. You know, it was a cabinet decision that for the first 5 years, there wouldn't be anything like retrenchment. But remember, this issue is based on that the government has been saying for the first 5 years will not. But ask yourself whether this argument or this issue have been put into the RFP. Now, has it got any legal effect? You understand me? Because the concessionaire will come and say, okay, fine, looking at the request for proposal, I don't have A, B, C, D in there, so I don't want to work with you. He will go. You understand me? So the issue of we not going to be affected... But if there are
redundant staff, a private company won't keep them. Because, and you were talking about interference. I had a distinct opportunity to speak to the communications manager of ECG sometime back, a couple of years ago, Dr. Smartieboa. And at that time, there were people who, they don't have desks, but the politicians keep bringing them, and politicians of all colors and shades, they bring all these people who don't have anything to do, and they just dump them on the organization. A private company won't take that. You will go home.
You see, the other question that I've been asking, what will be the packages and all that, is an issue that has been raised. Now, this RFP should also contain that. Now, before we say, Jack, the thing is issued, when you don't even have the opportunity to even state it, whether your concerns are addressed in the RFP.
Let me read a few messages sent in by some of our viewers. This one said, MIDA is a bunch of, how can you say that, serving their own interests and not interest of the poor masses and throwing dust into the eyes of the public. This is Kuiku Charles, Cape Coast. This one said, okay, it's the same person. This one, if so, then government should be, if the president is saying that ECG is inefficient, then the president himself must resign because he appointed the board of directors and managing directors and they are not achieving their target, why are they still at post? Is a concession only the solution to ECG's problems? If so, then government should also be given a concession. Governors should also be given us a concession. This one said, your host asked of you not taking action on time. Let me ask if he takes orders from his employer. Well, I take lawful instructions from my employer, and if my employer asks me, my employer respects my duties and responsibilities as a professional. My employer will not compel me to do a story I do not believe is proper. My employer respects my qualities and abilities as a professional. Thanks to your panelists, we've been told that ECG is also owing government. What about that, and how much? Is it true ECG is owing government?
It's arguable. It's arguable. No, look. Government gives ECG money to invest in a place that they will hardly pay their bill. It will take them 50 to 100 years to pay the bill. A business person will not do that job. But for economic reason, the ECG does that job. How do they expect me to pay?
Because the government owns majorities. The government owns 100% sole owner, 100% shareholder. Yeah. This one said the government should settle this accumulated debt of ECG, manage their affairs, because the Mahama-led government is more incompetent than ECG, as he thinks, unless he has interest in the concession. This is Atambire Emmanuel Mampong Ashanti. So many people have. Okay, we have just a minute or so to go. I'll split it between you. What is the way forward in all of this?
You see, before I get to that, my brother, just a second. You see, before the RFP can be issued, there are certain key issues that has to be addressed. Ask them. Sometimes I wish you engage them. You see, if you are moving the ECG, the restructured ECG to the NUCO for a period of 25 years, the NUCO is supposed to pay rent to the ECG, restructured ECG. How much is the rent, the lease agreement, how much is to be paid? This issue is supposed to be factored into the RFP.
It is not there.
It is not there. Now, when you look at the document, they are saying that for the first 5 years, there will be a minor review. At the end of the 15th year, there will be a major review. What goes into these reviews? The mechanisms have to be put in place. They are not in the RFP.
I have 15 seconds for you. What's the way forward?
We are still standing on our grounds that there are better options for the government to undertake. This issue of concession, giving a natural monopoly. You know, some people want to compare the company, but this ECG, there is no competition. It is a natural monopoly. Electricity is a public good, and we undertake other projects for economic reasons.
And if it is left in the hands of Ghanaians, you believe that it can be properly managed?
Oh, of course. With the least interference from government. Government can be part shareholder, like other companies that are part shareholder, part this thing. Government, we Ghanaians, we can manage. We are competent enough.
Thank you.
We can do the best.
Kofi Fletcher. Mr. Binyemi, thank you very much for coming. We've been watching PM Express, and we've been talking ECG and its problems. God willing, tomorrow we will bring you another exciting discussion on PM Express. Until then, my name is Malik Kabas Dabu. Bye-bye.